This is Brian Carlton for ABN Newswire. I'm back at the October Symposium Resources Roadshow, where ASX-listed companies get a chance to present their wares directly to existing shareholders and potential new investors in a nice, relaxed environment. One of the companies presenting today was Southern Uranium Limited, ASX code SNU, which despite recent tragedy has held a successful rights issue and is doing what all the great explorers through history have done, plough onwards and upwards. Southern Uranium's Managing Director, John Anderson, joins me now. John, welcome to ABN Newswire.
Yeah, thank you, Brian.
Now, let's quickly go back to June this year. You're getting towards the back end of sorting out your rights issue to raise exploration capital. Lots of prospects on the horizon, and a major shareholder and legendary miner Ken Talbot killed in a plane crash. What sort of impact did that have on the company?
Well, of course, we were very shaken and very saddened by Ken's tragic death. It certainly rocked us in our shoes, but we continued on with the rights issue.
Which is what he would have wanted,
Ken would have wanted that, yeah. And so we're getting towards the very end, and it was successfully completed, and we're now moving forward using that cash to continue drilling our projects.
So you raised $3.2 million from the rights issue?
That's correct, and we currently have over $3 million cash at the moment.
Okay. Now your projects, Southern Uranium has interest in South Australia, Queensland, Northern Territory. What's your total holding?
Well, our total holding is probably about 10,000 square kilometres, of which the majority is in South Australia, about 8,000 square kilometres, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. And specifically, what minerals are you targeting? Because there has been a change of focus there, hasn't there?
Oh, certainly. When we listed, our objective was to explore in South Australia for paleochannel uranium and for iron oxide copper gold uranium targets. So we're after the big animal, but we're also after a spectrum of deposits that go with that major Hildebrand mineralising event. So our focus was South Australia. Then after listing, we expanded into Queensland and Northern Territory on pure uranium plays. Now they have sort of waned a little bit. We have a vanadium play in the Northern Territory, but we're back to focusing on South Australia. We have a lot of strengths in doing that. That involves our experience, our discovery record in South Australia. The other assets we have are our model, our prospectivity model in South Australia, and also we now have a very large regional soil geochemical data set that is a major asset for our company.
I want to talk to you about that a little later, but let's look at the immediate exploration plans. Couple of peninsulas big here, featuring largely in South Australia. Let's start at York first, Ridgeback. Talk to me about what's happening there.
That was a great gain. We were primed to actually pick up a large part of the Pine Point fault zone on which the new hillside discovery by Rex is located. And when it became apparent in 2009 that they had made a significant discovery, we moved and grabbed that structural position. We beat all the competition. A number of people have said to me that we were very quick movers, and that's what we want to be as a junior, but with the expertise from a prior larger company, Careers.
Okay, so you were drilling in September. That's completed now?
Well, the first 2 holes have been completed, and we're looking at the results. We've got a large number of targets within the 30 k's of the Pine Point fault zone that we control. We really have only drilled the fault zone on one section. We've drilled a gravity target and a magnetic target. The better magnetic target remains to be drilled to the south. The situation is that of the dozen or so magnetic and gravity targets we've negotiated access to half of them, and we have drilled the most accessible on that particular section that we've drilled the 2 holes on.
It's essentially a rural area, if my memory is even vaguely correct. Are there any issues with the farmers and other stakeholders?
Oh, it's horses for courses. Wheat, barley country, yes, we ended up drilling in an established wheat crop. And we did pretty well, and that landowner was quite happy for us to do it, and we did a good job minimising the area of the drill pads, etc. Other farmers are a little bit hesitant. As I said, we've negotiated drill access for about half our targets, but we want to go for the higher priority ones, and we're still negotiating access for those. We've had some meetings, we've talked to the farmers on a number of occasions, and slowly we're coming to a compromise on timing and how we can go about doing those drill tests.
Is the fact that you're a smaller company an advantage in these sort of negotiations, in that they get to talk to the principals rather than a staffer?
I've left our exploration manager and our local senior geologist to do the negotiations, but I've taken a close interest in that. We are Brisbane-based with an Adelaide office, so it's probably quite appropriate for the local guys to have the day-to-day contact with the
and of course
farmers.
they know the area as
Yep.
well. Okay, now further west, Eyre Peninsula. I know you're excited about the Jungle Dam iron ore project with new prospective outcrops added after your airborne magnetic surveys that have been done recently.
Yes, that's right. We had done some initial drilling on the obvious magnetic zones, and that told us that we had pretty good magnetite iron formations at depth, but we also had hematite potential in the blanket, oxidised blanket overlying the iron formation. It also told us we needed to better define the magnetic zones so we could look for more hematite blankets over the top of other parts of the 16 kilometres or so of strike potential we've got there. So we flew the detailed low-level helicopter-borne magnetic survey, and that showed that there's a number of zones that look quite interesting. They look like they were structurally disrupted, maybe have got granite underneath, and this is a scenario that's been considered in the past where the Hildebah event, which is a lot younger than the actual iron formations, has overprinted the iron formations.
When you say a lot younger, you're talking, what, 1.9 odd billion years, aren't you?
Let me think. We don't really know the age of the iron formations fully. They could be even Pilbara age.
Okay.
Maybe 2.5 billion years for all we know. But in comparison, the Hildebah event was 1.6 billion years old.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, you're right, a billion years younger.
A billion years here or there, it doesn't matter, does it?
But it was a big mineralising event. Not only did it directly mineralise things like Olympic Dam and hillside on Eyre Peninsula, but it overprinted the iron formations, the older iron formations, and enhanced the grades. This is the theory for the Middlebacks, which is about 50 kilometres away from our Jungle Dam project, probably on a similar structural trend, and maybe that trend extends up to the Wiltshire Hill magnetite deposits that Ironclad have not far from our Jungle Dam project.
You're in a bit of a mineral supermarket in that part of town, aren't you, in that part of the world? I mean, it really is.
It's been called Aladdin's Cave, the Jewel Box, all the rest. I've been working in the area for, let me think, 22 years. And we moved from looking for lead zinc, and we were involved in finding a lot of the Menninnie Dam lead zinc deposit. We found telephone lead zinc, or when I say we, myself in other company scenarios. We slowly evolved our ideas, and we realised that lead zinc was more to do with the Olympic Dam or the Hildebah mineralising event than anything to do with Broken Hill. And really, I'm quite happy to say that Southern Uranium is making the next move forward with the understanding of this part of the world. If I could just come back to the Jungle Dam scenario, sure. I was talking about those new magnetic targets. We went and prospected them because we had actually found outcrop on the areas that we had drilled, the more standard iron formation zones in the Jungle Dam project area, and we found more outcrops, unmapped, of very high-grade iron sticking out of the ground, coincident with the magnetic anomalies. That gives us great hope that the 2 kilometres or more of new magnetic zones we've discovered do have quite extensive shallow hematite mineralisation around them, and we're looking forward to grabbing a drill rig as soon as we can and getting in there and testing.
Probably jumping a little ahead of sequence here, but there is DSO potential there, isn't there?
Well, we hope so. We can't talk about DSO strictly at the moment, but we are seeing shallow, high-grade, probably hematite blankets over the iron formations that we've defined with the new magnetics. We think there's a good chance of thick, deep and strike extensive high-grade iron.
When will you be more confident of that prediction?
When we drill, and it's very simple.
Which will be when?
As soon as we find a rig. We've been looking for a rig for a few weeks now. I think we're getting close. We have a number of possibilities, people coming to us and saying, we've heard you need a rig, we've got the right sort of rig.
Now, can you achieve what you want with your available capital in terms of exploration drilling?
We certainly can over the next 6 months. We've got, with our $3 million in cash we've got at the moment, we're spending that on drilling. We are going to drill our priority targets like Jungle Dam, continue drilling at Ridgeback, and I haven't mentioned the Peter Lumbo project, but that's being moved towards drilling as well. Okay.
Now, we indicated before that you're using some pretty advanced in-house modelling to identify some of these resources. Is it kind of silence, or can you talk about how it came about?
We are talking openly now. We haven't in the past, Brian, but we think we've got a pretty good ground position, and matter of fact, it's gone the other way. We are now setting up joint ventures based on other companies saying, gee, Southern Uranium's doing a good job, we want to get on board.
Now, John, you're planning on a name change, Investigator Resources Limited. Does this indicate that there is a shift away in terms of focus from uranium?
We have a diversified portfolio of exploration targets. The other thing is Southern Gold, our parent company, went off our register about a year ago, so we're no longer the Southern brand.
Yep.
And we're very focused on South Australia, so we picked the name Investigator. That's the name of Matthew Flinder's boat. It was a small ex-coal ship, which is ironic. And
it's such a great name for an exploration company.
Yeah,
sure.
well, we're going to work on the invest res, and yeah, the invest part of it sounds pretty good.
You're presenting today to a room full of cashed-up investors. What was the 30-second pitch?
The 30-second pitch is basically that we have 3 key drilling projects in a diversity of commodities which are highly prospective, and we're really looking forward to getting in and drilling them.
John Anderson, Managing Director, Southern Uranium Limited, soon to be Investigator Resources Limited. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much, Brian. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you. This is Brian Carlton for ABN Newswire.